They go to knock on doors and see if there are witnesses.
But as the neighbor and officers approach David's house, they notice something else.
The smoke appeared to be coming from the unit where Takira Collins lived with her 2 children.
They look through those windows. There's a lot of smoke.
It looked like there had been a fire inside.
It burned itself out.
However, the fire is still a tragedy.
Hey, I see kids in there.
Life had never been easy for 25-year-old Takira Collins.
Our father, he passed when she was 1 going on 2.
You could tell it was hard on her. It affected her a lot.
In the aftermath, Takira's mother struggled to make ends meet.
Growing up in poverty, it just made things very difficult. Childhood for us was stressful.
As a result, the siblings stuck together.
She wanted us to be inseparable. She always wanted to be there for me. I always wanted to be there for her. And the older we got, the stronger we got.
But as important as their bond was, Takira longed for more.
She did want family just because she didn't have her father growing up.
By 18, she'd found what she was looking for with Armand Johnson, a young man that lived in her neighborhood.
Being from the same neighborhood and being around things and seeing things and being through things together, that made their bond, strong and tight.
The couple fell in love, and in 2012, Takira gave birth to a baby boy.
He is beautiful.
He looks like you.
You think so?
Well, he is Armand Johnson Jr.
I know she was happy.
Once her son was born, Takira devoted herself to raising the child.
Her whole mindset changed. She just wanted to do better and be better. She was just focused. She was being a mom.
But while Takira was home with their child, Armand was out in the streets.
He ended up going to jail.
He was sent away for 5 years on robbery charges.
While Armand was in prison, Takira remained focused on raising their child.
Takira Collins was a dedicated mom, and she was a hard worker. She worked multiple jobs.
She also met someone new, a man named Anthony Stevens.
Hey, I saw you sitting here and I just had to come over and meet you.
I'm glad you did.
When Takira met Anthony, she was happy, head over heels.
That first meeting quickly blossomed into a romance.
They going out, dates, and they kicking it and spending time together.
Pretty soon, they welcomed their own bundle of joy into the world, Aubrey.
She was so happy that she had a girl. Like, finally, I got a mini-me.
But Takira's relationship with Anthony didn't last either.
I turned sour, but they was together for, I'd say, about a year.
She said he became overprotective and was giving her crazy vibes, so she ended things with him.
She was a strong, independent woman.
But she still longed for her kids to have a father figure in their lives.
She ended things with Anthony, and I believe that's when the feelings for Armand started to come back.
She wanted her son's father in his life.
Her son, he older now. He asking about where my dad at. Can I talk to my dad?
Takira reached out, and Armand reconnected with his son and Takira.
He was able to give her the attention she needed, explain to her how things was going to be when he came home.
He told me we worked it out.
They got engaged, and they wanted to move forward as a family.
And when Armand finally came home, they did become a family.
Aubrey obviously was a product of a different relationship, but this little girl became his own.
Armand also doted over his little boy.
Good job, man. Yeah.
I could see that he loved his dad.
And Takira was glad to have a family again.
I said, you happy, I'm happy. That's all that matters.
Things was looking good.
But now, officers responding to a shooting have spotted smoke coming from Takira's apartment.
They went to investigate and made a horrifying discovery.
Hey, I see kids in there.
They saw the 2 children in the house.
They were lying motionless on the floor.
Ready?
The first responders make a forced entry, but they're too late.
Both of the children were dead from smoke inhalation.
You had a tremendous amount of smoke, which is what caused the kids to die.
But the children aren't the only victims. Moving deeper into the apartment, the officers make another grim discovery.
Police discovered Takira's body.
Unlike her children, Takira didn't die in the fire.
Takira had been shot 10 times.
Her and Armand was back together, and things was looking good.
But now, police have found Takira and her 2 children dead inside her apartment.
Takira had been shot 10 times. A lot of those injuries were from the back. I believe she was running to her bedroom, trying to get away.
Then the killer had apparently tried to set fire to the apartment, hoping to hide the evidence.
Since the children didn't have any visible injuries, police believe they died from smoke inhalation.
One of the huge factors in this case is the fact that this house was newly renovated and had brand new windows. There were no gaps in these windows. That was crucial because when this house was set aflame, the fire didn't get any oxygen in order for this whole structure to come down. So that's why we are not looking at a pile of rubble.
When homicide detectives arrive, they find clear evidence that the fire had been deliberately set.
There was a gas can left in her bedroom.
Detectives also recover multiple 9mm shell casings, as well as Takira's phone.
Takira's phone is laying on the sofa in the living room.
There were no indications of a robbery or any signs of forced entry.
Adding that to the number of wounds Takira suffered leads detectives to one conclusion.
This was a crime of passion.
Shooting Takira that many times was definitely personal.
10 shots is overkill.
The detectives suspect the children slept through the shooting.
But Takira's daughter woke sometime after the fire had been set.
Aubrey got up from her bed. We know that because she had soot in the bottom of her feet. And when you look at the walls in the house, you see her handprints walking down to her brother's room.
Police found the 2 children clinging to one another inside her brother's bedroom.
It's heartbreaking.
But did their deaths have anything to do with the murder of their neighbor, David Cousin Jr.?
After looking over the apartment where Takira and her children died, detectives went to the vacant lot nearby where the neighbor found David.
They would have been looking for shell casings and looking to see if these things were connected.
In the grass, detectives recover one more 9mm shell casing.
It was a match to the ones found in Takira's bedroom, which made detectives believe they were looking for the same shooter in both murders.
While the detectives work, onlookers start to gather outside the crime scene tape.
This had a lot of attention. There were family members showing up. Everyone from the neighborhood is out. It's a chaotic scene at this point.
The neighborhood was on edge to see 2 babies and a mother killed.
Neighbors are just as dismayed by David's murder.
People that lived in Slavic Village in that neighborhood were shocked because who would do something to David?
In his community, he was a very well-respected individual.
But other than being neighbors, there was no real connection between David and Takira.
It was just a high-by situation. This my neighbor. It was nothing like no relationship or none of that. He had a girlfriend. He was about to get married.
Hoping to learn more about Takira, detectives turn to her family who have started to gather after hearing the horrific news.
Can I see my baby?
Hey, we're so sorry for your loss.
When I get home, missed calls. It was coming from our uncle. So I called him. I asked him what's going on. And then he told me, like, your sister's, she's gone. The first thing that came to my mind was, okay, well, what about the kids? Where are the kids?
Her family had just the profound sense of loss when, you didn't just lose one family member. You lost 3 and you lost babies.
But the family also says they know who did it.
Family members thought that only one person was responsible.
It had to be Anthony.
And her mother says she has proof.
She sent me a text last night about her youngest father.
Takira's mother received a text from her saying that Anthony was over the house.
And according to Takira's text, Anthony had a gun.
Cleveland detectives have reason to believe Takira Collins' ex-boyfriend, Anthony Stevens, may be responsible for the shooting and arson that killed Takira, her 2 children, and their neighbor, David Cousin Jr.
Takira's mother said she received a late-night text from her daughter that said Anthony had come by the apartment.
He had a gun and she felt threatened.
Did you tell her to call the police?
I didn't see it until this morning.
Takira's mother said she tried to call Takira as soon as she saw the text.
And she didn't answer, so I came straight over.
Do you think he killed her?
It had to be Anthony.
She said if something was to ever happen to her, Arby's father did it.
Takira's mother tells the detectives that Anthony and Takira were having issues over the custody of their daughter.
She was keeping Arby from him because he just got crazier to the point where it scared her.
While detectives are talking to the family, Armand Johnson, the father of Takira's oldest child, arrives at the scene.
Where's Takira? Takira! Where's Takira?
Detectives pulled Armand aside and broke the news that Takira and the kids were dead.
Oh
no! He said he received a late-night text just like Takira's mother that said Anthony had come over and he was threatening her.
I got a text message saying...
And also like Takira's mother, he says he hadn't seen the text until it was too late.
He was devastated with what happened.
And the detectives were afraid he would do something rash.
Where is he?
Sir,
no, where's Anthony? I need to see him.
To keep Armand from interfering with the investigation, the detectives take him into custody.
He had an outstanding warrant for some other probation violation.
Once Armand's in custody, the detectives take him down to the station for a formal statement.
He eagerly wants to help.
Although since he was under arrest, the detectives kept him cuffed.
Right now, you're under arrest for a warrant that you have.
The detectives begin by asking Armand about his relationship with Takira.
He explained that he'd moved in with Takira after he'd gotten out of prison.
However, Armand also says he'd moved out a couple of weeks before the murders.
Why did you leave?
Because we just had disagreements.
So how has your relationship been with her recently? You guys talk?
Yeah, we talk. She still let me come see my kids.
In fact, Armand had said that he took both of the children to a family reunion in Detroit that weekend.
When was the last time you seen them, those two children?
Sunday when I dropped them off.
He says he didn't have any contact with Takira or the kids after that.
Then when I woke up this morning, I received a text from yesterday.
Armand said the text was about Anthony coming to the apartment and threatening her.
She never said to you what this was all about?
No.
Or why that there was such a problem between them?
No.
Finally, while he's not a suspect, the detectives wrap up the interview by asking Armand where he was the night of the murders.
He said he was home asleep.
I fell asleep right about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Who can verify that you were home at 9:30 sleeping?
My grandmother, my aunt, my father.
They were all there?
Yes.
He has an alibi. It's not him.
But would Takira's other ex be able to say the same?
Anthony came forward and turned himself in to be questioned.
You're not under arrest. Let me make that clear. We read these to everybody because it's a criminal investigation.
After reading Anthony his rights, the detectives ask about his relationship with Takira.
It was shaky. It's crazy.
When you say she was crazy, like, what do you mean by that?
It was just a point in time in my life where I wanted to have my cake and eat it too, and she wasn't with it.
Meaning you want to see other women?
Yeah.
And according to Anthony, he hadn't even seen Takira in more than a year.
When was the last time you actually spoken with Takira?
I would have to say since my daughter was months old, literally.
He was a non-factor in her life, a non-factor in his daughter's life, sadly.
Although he said that was primarily Takira's fault.
I've never reached out to her because every time I even tried to talk to her, it's an argument. It's going to be something that I don't want it to blow up into.
So in other words, Anthony had just confirmed the custody issues that Takira's family had told the detectives about.
But does that mean they were right to suspect Anthony was her killer?
At this point, detectives confronted him with the text messages that Armand and Takira's mother received.
Anthony reads the message and denies it's true.
He maintained that he had not seen Takira and he was nowhere near her house the night before. He said that somebody was setting him up.
Who would want to jam you up in a quadruple homicide?
I have no idea. I want to find out my damn self.
Anthony also claims to have an alibi.
Mondays, I work 5 to close.
Anthony had a job making sandwiches at the time these offenses happened.
Hey, take a look at this.
When police follow up on Anthony's alibi, his story checks out.
They're just from the sub shop.
They were able to prove that Anthony was at work. There was surveillance footage. They even saw his time card.
And the texts to Takira's mother and Armand?
It's a big red herring, thrown out by the real killer.
But who? Desperate for leads, the detectives run a record search on Takira.
When you look at a victim in a case, their history can guide you to some extent as to who the perpetrator of this crime is.
When detectives look into Takira's history, they find an immediate red flag.
She had taken out an order of protection against another ex-boyfriend.
His name is Darius Murphy.
According to the protective order, Darius had been abusive.
She was beaten. She was also bitten.
Well, because violent things happen between you two. That's why.
Investigating the murders of Takira Collins, her 2 children, and her neighbor David Cousin Jr. have just learned about an order of protection she took out against an ex-boyfriend named Darius Murphy.
In the request for the order, Takira accused Darius of abusing her.
Is there a possible connection?
Okay, take a seat there for me.
Hoping to find out, the detectives bring Darius in for an interview.
That's a roundhead question.
Well, because you were a previous boyfriend with her who had a protection order issued against you, and violent things happen between you two. That's why.
Darius admits he had a relationship with Takira, but he says it was brief.
Someone's like August or something.
2018.
Yeah, last year.
That was after Takira broke up with the father of her daughter, Anthony, but while her boyfriend, Armand, was still in jail.
She said one might be a relationship. In fact, she was already engaged with Armand.
She told you this relationship between you and I can't go on after he gets out.
Yeah, it's gonna stop.
Darius claimed that he was okay with their arrangement, but the detectives aren't so sure.
Was this an if I can't have you, no one can type of situation?
You have someone who is engaged in a crime of passion, it's jealousy, anger.
Plus, Takira claimed he'd been violent with her before.
If you ever assault her, okay.
Yeah, I do it though.
I understand.
People put this fight all the time, argue, but
physically is what I'm asking you.
I probably bit her or something, but I never know.
She alleges you bit her on the back.
Yeah, I do that, but I never.
Okay.
Beat her.
Of course, he'd also denied he had anything to do with Takira's murder.
So let me ask you, and I gotta ask you this. It's important. Did you go over to East 63rd Street and have a confrontation with Takira and shoot and kill her?
I never did.
Instead, Darius insists the detectives should be looking at Takira's other ex, Armand Johnson.
He said Armand was abusive, according to what Takira had supposedly told him.
She said he used to beat her black and blue, and now he used to put his hands on her in front of the kids.
A lot of times people assume having children makes a relationship better, but having children can also make a relationship an unhealthy environment because a lot of people don't want the responsibility of caring for children. And that happens with a lot of men, that they're just not ready to do that whole commitment piece.
However, Darius doesn't know if the abuse continued once Armand got out of jail.
He said he last talked to her a couple of months before the murders.
Okay. And Armand had already been out of jail.
He was out of jail now, and he was talking about them, and she telling me how they were doing.
According to Darius, Takira said things were going okay between her and Armand.
She didn't say nothing bad at that time.
She said she was still engaged to him?
At that time, yeah.
Could there be something to Darius's claims about an abusive relationship?
Takira had broken off the engagement.
Or was Darius simply trying to throw detectives off his trail?
Despite Darius's claims about Armand, the detectives pressed him for an alibi.
He's going to corroborate your times for Monday, July 8th through July 9th.
Curiously, Darius hesitates.
I don't want to be putting people in
Well, you're going to have to, because right now you're in the middle of this.
To the detectives, it sounded like Darius was hiding something.
Hoping to find out what that might be, the detectives head back to the crime scene.
They canvassed the neighborhood, looking for surveillance cameras that could place Darius in the vicinity the night of the murders.
Police start to focus in on a McDonald's that's very close to Takira's house.
In fact, when detectives review the footage, the surveillance cameras outside the restaurant recorded Takira taking her kids through the drive-thru just hours before the murders.
You may want to check this out.
It's our last known footage, our last time we see Takira and these kids alive.
But what was interesting to detectives was what the cameras recorded a few hours later.
A man runs across the parking lot from the direction of Takira's house and gets in a waiting car.
Could this be the killer making his getaway?
Not too many people go to McDonald's and get picked up.
From the footage, it's tough to make out the man's identity.
The cameras, they're not clear enough.
However, the cameras did offer detectives a good look at the man's shoes.
We could see the design on these shoes and how specific these shoes were.
But who was the man wearing those shoes? It isn't long before the detectives get a call from someone who claims to know.
I called downtown. Hey, I got some information on this case.
What's up?
I know exactly who it is.
Of Takira Collins, her 2 children, and her neighbor David Cousin Jr. have just received an urgent phone call from Takira's friend, Kayla Hodges.
I knew exactly who did it. It was no doubt in my mind.
According to Kayla, the killer was Armand Johnson, the father of Takira's oldest child.
Armand, I knew for a fact. But it just was like, damn, why you do the kids?
When Kayla comes in to sit down with the detectives, she says she always knew there was trouble in the relationship.
I could see that she wasn't happy. Like, yeah, you there, you being a father, but you not there.
She told you this?
No, not at first.
She'd tell me some stuff, but she ain't telling us everything.
Kayla says Takira also kept her family in the dark.
It's a dirty secret. And because it is cyclical, you don't want to tell someone what happened with your abuser, because in a week, in a month, in a few days, things are going to be good. And you don't want them to alienate that person from your life.
But according to Kayla, the trouble between Armand and Takira got so bad that she couldn't hide it from everyone.
I got a call. I'm in the hospital. I got stitches. Got some stitches for what? Oh, Armand got mad and hit me in my lip.
Kayla says it was only then that Takira revealed the truth about Armand.
The relationship was just really, really toxic.
He wouldn't stop putting his hands on her. He was basically insecure about any relationship with any males that he thought was more than a friendship.
The perpetrator in the domestic violence feels a lack of control, but does not feel that they have done anything wrong.
And unfortunately, a lot of women don't think that they can get out of an abusive situation.
Which is why, according to Kayla, Takira was secretly relieved when Armand went to prison.
It's like, when he went away, she don't have to deal with that no more.
But Kayla says that Takira's resolve weakened while Armand was away.
You start feeling bad for somebody, get to text and writing letters. He incarcerated. That's your child's father. Because I wouldn't say I wouldn't do the same thing. I probably would have.
Over a time period, a person begins to start minimizing the negative of the relationship to the point where they're like, it wasn't that bad with this person.
And when Armand got out of prison, the couple reconciled.
He's sorry, he apologized.
But he hadn't changed at all.
You started abusing her again.
Yeah.
He's supposed to busted up her lip pretty bad. Gave her a black eye. But unfortunately, they kept me out of the loop. They didn't want me to do anything to Armand.
However, while Takira didn't tell her brother about the abuse, she did break off her engagement with Armand.
She was no longer going to put up with his behavior. She didn't want her kids around it.
When she was finally done and walking away, I could see a change. Like, she was happy. You could tell that she was excited for the new adventure.
That's extremely important and relevant in a case like this.
So you think Armand did this?
Oh, I'm sure of it.
The picture Kayla paints sounds plausible to detectives.
For him, it was like an all or nothing. He wanted her in his life. And what is scary about domestic violence relationships is that the most dangerous time is when you decide to leave. And we can make and pass laws, but at the end of the day, those things are just words on a piece of paper. And that's not going to protect anyone against 10 gunshots. If someone is intent on killing you because they can't have you, they're going to do it.
Question is, can detectives prove it?
They got a search warrant to Armand's grandmother's home where he was living with his aunt.
Hi, how can I help you?
Ma'am, we have a warrant to search your property.
Oh dear. Okay. Sure, come on in.
They don't find a smoking gun, but what they do find is almost as damning.
They discovered some very distinct shoes, the same ones that were in the surveillance footage.
You look at the shoes and definitely say they're the same shoes. And then they're shoes that happen to have gasoline on them.
Whoever set the fire had spread gasoline around the apartment.
They also had blood on them as well.
Before sending the shoes off to the lab for testing, the detectives lean on Armand's aunt.
Earlier, he told police she would vouch that he was home on the night of the murder.
But under pressure from the detectives, she caves.
So was your nephew at home all night on July 8th?
Yes. Yeah. No. Well, not all night.
She admits that on the night of the murders, she picked him up at the McDonald's down the street from Takira's apartment.
I don't know that she truly knew what was going on. You don't want to believe that he's capable of what he did to these kids. That's unthinkable.
Between the aunt's story, the surveillance video, and the shoes, detectives were able to place Armand near the scene of the crime on the night of the murder.
2 days after the murders, the detectives pull Armand out of the jail cell where he's being held on a parole violation and confront him with what they've learned.
I have your aunt talking to us, telling us that she picked you up in the area at the time of this occurrence.
No, it was not.
Armand was denying that he committed these crimes.
But it's no use.
We have a video of you.
However, there was still one thing that detectives wanted to know.
The only thing I do not understand is how you could possibly burn your children alive.
At 26-year-old Armand Johnson killed his ex-fiancée, Takira Collins, her 2 children, and their neighbor, David Cousin Jr.
You went over there
No, I did not.
and you killed her.
No, I did not.
Armand tries to deny it, but the detectives have proof.
Your own aunt is saying she picked you up that morning from that area right there, and she took you home.
Detectives also have surveillance video to back up his aunt's story.
Armand being captured on camera in the neighborhood at McDonald's was instrumental in the case.
But what the detectives really want is a confession.
In the interview, detectives leaned hard on the fact that Armand's own son had died.
I can understand wanting to hurt her, but not the kids. I just don't understand that part of it.
However, despite the pressure, Armand refuses to crack.
I need to talk to my lawyer.
The interview over, the detectives book Armand on 4 counts of murder.
There's an aggravated murder for Takira, for each one of the kids, and for David Cousin.
As news of the arrest spreads, the community rallies around Takira's family.
Everyone was on social media screaming, no justice, no peace.
But as the case moves to trial, the family has a long wait ahead of them.
We had COVID in the middle from the time that this crime happened until the time it went to trial. So there were a lot of delays in addition to what you would normally have with a capital case.
When Armand goes on trial in August of 2022, the prosecutors argue that he just couldn't accept that his relationship with Takira was over.
That was the catalyst. He didn't want to be without her.
And it's been documented that he had an anger issue, that he was jealous of her. He didn't want her with anyone else.
So, on the night of the murders, he'd gone to Takira's apartment.
What do you want?
We need to talk.
No, we don't. We have nothing to talk about.
The kid's asleep.
Yeah?
I'm coming in.
No, you're not. You're not welcome here. You need to leave.
Oh, I ain't going nowhere.
Takira tried to run, but it was no use.
He fired at her at least 10 times.
Then, once Takira was dead, he'd spread gasoline around the apartment.
When you look at where that gas was distributed throughout that house, Armand Johnson absolutely intended those kids to lose their lives. He didn't want to leave any witnesses to what he had done.
The prosecutors believe that's also why Armand killed David Cousin Jr.
He was just an innocent bystander, coming in the house at the wrong time.
Armand saw him as someone who could uncover this whole event. That's why he shot and killed him.
That was just so sad that he had to lose his life.
According to the prosecutors, there's no doubt that Armand was responsible.
They had the aunt, the video, and the shoes recovered during the search that all placed him near the scene of the crime.
And that's not all the prosecutors have.
The shoes he was wearing that night had Takira's DNA on them, likely from blood spatter.
Add it all up, it's more than enough for the jury.
Armand is found to be guilty.
He received 4 life sentences without parole. I can sleep well at night knowing that he's never getting out of prison.
Takira's loved ones are less satisfied with the outcome.
It wasn't enough for me. I'm sorry. It wasn't enough. That's 4 lives, 2 adults and 2 kids. Then you still living, you still eating, you still breathing. No, that wasn't good enough for me. Still can't sleep at night.
While they still struggle to accept their loss, Takira's friends and family hope her story can help save others from a similar fate.
I don't wish this on nobody, not even my worst enemy. If you going through that situation, get out.
Pay attention to the red flags. Don't ignore the warning signs. Don't wait before it's too late.
But most of all, Takira's loved ones cherish her memory.
She was my everything. Me and her told each other everything. I don't have that no more.
Takira Lachey Collins was my best friend, and she was a beautiful person. Her kids was adorable angels. And they go be
Rising basketball star who believed in giving back.
She wanted to follow in the footsteps of her mother, who was a nurse.
She was such a giving person.
And her generosity touched the lives of everyone she knew.
That was my protector, my confidant.
She never met a stranger.
So how did she become the target of a vicious attack?
The shooter had stood over her and shot her point-blank execution style.
I couldn't believe that happened.
Was it a jealous ex unwilling to let go?
We are over.
He had been lurking outside.
Or a new flame that burned too hot?
She just wasn't ready for another relationship.
Something just snapped in him.
And when the investigation hits a stone wall, will the victim's own words be enough to catch her killer?
You could hear the actual shot that ended her life.
September 15th, 1999. It's a quiet Wednesday evening in Nanuet, New York, a suburban community just 25 miles north of New York City.
Nanuet is what they call in New York a hamlet. It doesn't have a city government of its own.
It falls within the town of Clarkstown.
It's low crime, a good school system, affordable houses, manicured lawns.
Around 9:40 p.m., 23-year-old Angie Despinas has just arrived at the home she shares with her mother and her older sister, Michelle.
Angie had just finished her college courses for the evening.
But something about the house immediately strikes Angie as odd.
We have a sensor light that's on the outside of my mom's home, and the light did not turn on. That's kind of strange because Michelle's car is here, and whoever gets home first will put the switch up.
Inside the house, Angie doesn't see any sign of her sister.
Michelle, are you home? There was no response, just this eerie silence.
But when Angie turns into the living room, she's met with a nightmare.
I saw that she was on the floor and she was hurt, and I tried to call out to her, but she was unresponsive.
Oh my God!
For Michelle Despinas, helping others was her greatest passion.
She wanted to become a nurse like my mom.
She had a love for people, so no surprise that she would be wanting to go into nursing.
Michelle was just always an outgoing individual. If you looked up people person, you'd see Michelle's picture in the dictionary.
She's very, very friendly, but she was tough. You know, she was into sports a lot. She loved the game, and she was very dedicated.
In her 20s, Michelle's desire to follow in her mother's footsteps came to fruition.
She was attending Rockland Community College in the nursing program there. That was just something that she always wanted to do.
While in college, Michelle kept herself busy.
Michelle volunteered in the maternity ward at the hospital.
She was an assistant basketball coach at Rockland Community College.
The girls that she coached, she had personal relationships with them when they would call her and she would get up and go. It wasn't just an on-the-court thing for her. If you needed that extra help, she was there.
And in the summer of 1994, 22-year-old Michelle met someone on the court that shared her same love of the game. 22-year-old Ken Rogers.
They used to play pickup games on the same basketball court, so they got to know each other that way.
I'm really making it rain out here.
You're not too bad yourself.
I just remember the phone calls. I met this guy, he's really nice looking, he's tall, and they had that commonality in sports, and they kind of just kicked it off.
Before long, basketball pickup games blossomed into something more.
The relationship was a good relationship, you know, going out on the dates and meeting each other's friends and family.
She was smitten with him, and they started talking about advancing their relationship.
But as time went on, Michelle started to wonder if she and Ken were really right for each other.
She wanted to push with her education and her career, and I'm not sure that Ken was trying to do the same thing.
Ken had a job, but he wasn't on the same trajectory as Michelle.
I don't think he was willing to put in the work to match her.
They did eventually start to grow apart and realized it just wasn't going to work out.
After 5 years, Michelle finally ended things with Ken in June of 1999.
She said, I love him, but I can't be with him anymore.
It's never easy breaking up, but you hope that the two of you can eventually move on.
And for Michelle, moving on didn't take long.
Michelle was at a wedding in Connecticut and met a man named Wade Burton.
What brings you to this wedding?
He's a gentleman. He's an easygoing guy. He was fun, you know, and he was genuinely interested in trying to get to know her, and she was excited about that too.
You gonna be able to keep coaching after you graduate?
I'd like to, if I'm not too busy.
Yeah, I understand.
They had a great time getting to know each other and decided to keep in touch.
Wade lived 2 hours away in Connecticut, but the two didn't let that stop them.
They started dating, and Wade made several trips from Connecticut to see her.
She was excited about this new relationship.
She had a fantastic future ahead of her. She was just an all-around good girl.
But less than 3 months after meeting Wade, Michelle's promising future hangs in the balance when her sister finds her unresponsive on the floor of their home.
Once Angie was able to get her composure, she dialed 911 to get help.
Can you all send someone quick, please?
Clarkstown police arrive within minutes.
Ma'am. I thought that maybe she had fell and maybe hit her head.
But police quickly determine the reality is more gruesome.
Michelle was shot once in the head.
It appeared to be a fatal injury, and police were about to call the coroner.
Then officers make a shocking discovery.
We've got a pulse.
She was still breathing.
She was still alive.
Student Michelle Despinas had a bright future ahead of her.
She's going to school to become a nurse like her mom. She's an assistant basketball coach. She volunteers at a hospital.
And after breaking up with her boyfriend of 5 years, Ken Rogers, Michelle found a new love interest, 29-year-old Wade Burton.
Michelle lived in New York and Wade lived in Connecticut, but still they were trying to make it work.
But now, Michelle is in critical condition with a gunshot wound to the head.
The entry was through the right side of her head, exit through the left.
One of the police officers said to me something about her being shot, and I'm like, well, what are you talking about? No one would look to hurt her in that way.
It's unclear whether she will live or die.
So it was then now following the ambulance all the way to the hospital, and just thoughts going through your mind like, what's going to happen? She's got to be okay. Things like this only happen in the movies.
While Michelle's life hangs in the balance, Clarkstown detectives arrive and begin looking for answers.
The reaction was like, wow, why her?
What could this have been? Could this have been a robbery, a burglary?
It doesn't take investigators long to find a vital piece of evidence.
The investigators found one single 9mm shell casing. They also noticed a bullet hole on the floor under where Michelle's head had been.
Police were actually able to dig the bullet right out of the flooring.
It's consistent to a semi-automatic handgun.
The evidence paints a chilling picture of what happened to Michelle.
Due to the location, it was determined that Michelle was on the floor at the time she was shot.
So what do you think? The shooter had stood over her and shot her point blank.
Detectives also find signs of a struggle inside the home.
There were some items knocked over or knocked off the tables.
There's blood splatter consistent with a physical fight.
What investigators don't find are any signs of a robbery.
Nothing was taken from the scene. There was nothing stolen.
There was also no sign of forced entry.
Which leads detectives to conclude that Michelle's shooter must have intentionally targeted her.
This was not a random person attacking her. This had to be someone she knew. Most likely someone she let in.
But who could that person be?
Hoping a neighbor might know something, police do a canvass from door to door.
And they're in luck.
One neighbor remembered seeing Michelle the day before the shooting.
Michelle was standing outside her house with a man leaning against a white SUV.
The neighbor can't identify the man, but the investigators hope Michelle's loved ones can fill in the blanks.
When something like this happens, the police have to start with the family, ask them what they know.
Michelle's distraught family and friends have gathered at the hospital, awaiting news of her condition.
It was unreal. I was like, this can't be happening. Like, this is my sister.
I could not get my head wrapped around that. This was real.
Despite their pain, Michelle's loved ones agree to speak to the police.
They wanted to cooperate fully with the investigation.
But they don't have any explanation for what happened.
We don't deal with guns. We don't have this lifestyle. How could she have gotten shot?
They didn't know anyone who would want to hurt Michelle.
However, one friend of Michelle's has some information she thinks could aid in the investigation.
Michelle called me earlier and said her last class got canceled.
Michelle had gotten out of class early and was headed home.
They chatted for a few minutes, and that was it.
But Michelle's friend says there was a second call later that night.
She says that she did receive another call from Michelle just before 9:15 p.m.
She sounded really different.
What do you mean?
She sounded scared.
She's practically whispering, "He's outside, he's outside." And before she can say who, the line goes dead.
She tried to call Michelle back several times, but Michelle never answered.
So you don't know who she was talking about?
Well, I can guess.
She says Michelle was having trouble with her ex.
She had a recent breakup with her boyfriend of 5 years.
She said his name was Ken Rogers.
He hadn't taken it very well.
At a hospital in Clarkstown, New York, 27-year-old nursing student Michelle Despinas is clinging to life with a gunshot wound to the head. In speaking with her family and friends, investigators have identified a possible suspect, her ex-boyfriend, 27-year-old Ken Rogers.
They had been dating for about 5 years. They had broken up a few months earlier. He was not taking it well.
But before investigators can speak to Ken, doctors deliver some tragic news.
The bullet wound to Michelle's head has left her completely brain dead.
Doctors informed her family members that the damage was so severe she would never recover.
Michelle's family now faces an impossible decision. But her mother thinks she knows what Michelle would want.
There was a conversation that Michelle had with my mom maybe a few days before, and she was like, "Mommy, if something ever happened to me, I wouldn't want to be on life support." I don't know if she felt like something was going to happen to her, but that conversation is what made my mom decide.
Her mother had to make the decision to send her on her way.
Michelle wouldn't want people to see her like a vegetable because she's such an athletic person, such a vibrant person, such an active person.
Once they make that decision to take her off of life support, the case is now considered a homicide.
As the sun comes up over Clarkstown, investigators are now searching for a murderer. And Michelle's ex is the first person on their radar.
Clearly, detectives need to speak to Ken Rogers.
They were able to contact him, and he agreed to come into the station for an interview.
He had heard that the police were looking for him.
He's also heard that Michelle is dead.
People have been calling me about it. It's just hard to believe, you know?
Ken seems like he doesn't have anything to hide. He's willing to be interviewed.
The detectives start by asking Ken about his relationship with Michelle.
He admitted that they had broken up.
Ken openly admits that he had not taken it well.
We had some arguments. I just wish I could take it all back, you know?
He may have said things that he regretted, but Ken says that he would never have done anything to hurt Michelle.
In fact, Ken says he has an alibi for Wednesday night.
He said that his friend had worked at a local video store and he had gone to visit him around 7 p.m.
According to Ken, he was at this video store until 10 o'clock at night.
There's someone out there. Michelle was on the phone with her friend around 9:15, and Angie found her body by 9:40.
If Ken's alibi checks out, he couldn't have been the person who killed Michelle.
All right, well, we appreciate your time, Ken, and you're free to go.
Next, detectives reach out to Ken's friend.
They confirmed that Ken had been with him from 7 p.m. to after 10 that night.
He has an airtight alibi.
With Ken crossed off their suspect list, investigators are back at square one. However, they know from speaking with Michelle's loved ones that she started dating someone new after her breakup with Ken. 29-year-old Wade Burton.
Even though Wade lived in Connecticut, it would only taken him a few hours to drive to Nanuet.
Investigators run Wade's name through their computer databases and don't find anything suspicious.
He had no prior criminal history. He had no arrests, no convictions.
But when detectives check Wade's DMV records, they find something that catches their attention.
DMV records reveal that Wade actually drives a white SUV.
You got it. Thank you.
There were witnesses who saw a man in a white SUV talking to Michelle.
Wade was almost certainly the man a neighbor saw with Michelle the day before she was killed.
When detectives reach out to Wade, he agrees to drive over from Connecticut to speak with them.
Wade appears to be upset over Michelle's passing.
It's just crazy something like this happened.
But when detectives start asking questions, Wade began to get defensive.
He had admitted to visiting Michelle the day before she was attacked.
However, Wade bristles at what detectives are suggesting.
You think I was involved in this?
He said, I would never, ever hurt Michelle. And I don't like the insinuation that I could possibly do this.
Wade also claims to have an alibi for the night of the crime.
He said that he was home at his house in Connecticut with his mom and his brother.
Wade's family, his mother, his brother, all confirm his alibi that he was at home in Connecticut.
With both of the prime suspects ruled out, the investigation seemed to be hitting a brick wall.
But then Wade says something that will send the investigation hurtling in an entirely new direction.
Have you looked into Jesse Morton?
Who's Jesse Morton?
Police investigating the murder of Michelle Despinas have eliminated her ex, Ken Rogers, and her most recent boyfriend, Wade Burton, as suspects in the crime.
The detectives were able to confirm their alibis at the time of the murder.
But now, Wade has given investigators a tantalizing new lead.
He asked them if they looked into a guy named Jesse Morton.
Who's Jesse Morton?
Some guy Michelle dated briefly before me.
Wade tells detectives Michelle had just broken up with Ken Rogers and gone on a much-needed vacation when she met Jesse.
Jesse had met Michelle on a cruise to the Bahamas, a little shipboard romance, perhaps.
According to Wade, when Jesse and Michelle realized they lived near each other, they went on a few dates at home.
But their romance quickly fizzled out. And that's when Michelle met Wade.
Thank you, Wade. And we'll make sure we look into
it. Could Jesse have been upset that more didn't come out of his relationship with Michelle? Investigators contact him right away.
When detectives reach out to Jesse, he agrees to come in for an interview.
We appreciate you coming in, Jesse, to talk to us. And can you tell us how you knew Michelle?
Jesse confirms that he and Michelle met on a cruise in the Bahamas a few months earlier.
We had a good time and we figured we'd keep things going when we got back.
But just like Wade said, the romance didn't last long.
Michelle was hesitant to dive into another serious relationship so soon after breaking up with Ken, so they kept it pretty casual.
She's just broken up from a 5-year relationship. She tells Jesse, I'm just not ready.
Jesse says he respected Michelle's decision. But did he really accept it? Especially after Michelle began dating Wade.
Have you really moved on?
Jesse admits he had hoped that Michelle would change her mind.
You can't blame the man for hoping for a romance with Michelle.
But he assures detectives he'd never do anything to harm her.
Jesse, where were you Wednesday night?
I was visiting some friends in D.C.
So police check, and sure enough, he does have an alibi for being in D.C. at the time.
But as detectives are wrapping up their interview with Jesse, he says something that will shift the focus of the investigation yet again.
Listen, if I were you, I'd be checking out her ex-boyfriend.
You mean Ken?
Yeah. He said that Ken had been stalking her since their breakup.
Jesse claims he witnessed the stalking firsthand, a few days after he and Michelle returned from the cruise.
Jesse was dropping Michelle off at home after a night out.
As Michelle walked towards her front door, Ken emerged from the shadows.
Ken confronted her and was clearly upset that she was with another man.
Nah, who is that, huh?
It's okay, Jesse. I got this.
You sure?
Ken, I need you to stop this. We are over.
Ken eventually left. But according to Jesse, it wasn't an isolated incident.
Michelle had said that he'd been stalking her ever since they broke up, just being real creepy and everything.
Sometimes she would leave for work in the morning and he'd be outside standing there.
Ken was trying to pressure her to get back together with him.
But regardless of what Jesse says, Ken still has an airtight alibi.
Police had already ruled out Ken since his alibi about being at the video store checked out.
However, when one of Michelle's colleagues from the hospital she volunteered at comes forward, it bolsters Jesse's account.
They came forward to indicate that they had seen and heard Michelle and Ken arguing in the months leading up to the murder.
On one occasion, an argument had turned physical.
Michelle!
Ken?
A witness observed Michelle and Ken having words, and Ken shoved Michelle.
According to Michelle's colleague, the arguments all stemmed from one thing: Ken's relentless efforts to win Michelle back.
The witness was so disturbed by what he had seen that the witness walked up to Michelle and asked if she was okay.
You okay?
Michelle's colleague tells detectives that minutes later, Ken returned, but his demeanor was completely different.
Ken, please just go.
I'm sorry.
He showed back up with a bouquet of flowers, just begging Michelle to take him back.
I'm sorry.
No.
She told Ken that she was not interested in pursuing a relationship, but the harassment continued. That was part of a pattern in the months before the murder.
Ken was intimidating her, stalking her, and harassing her. He was finding out information about who she was dating, where she was going, and was circling her block where she lived.
Ken's history of stalking Michelle has investigators convinced they're on the right track. But it isn't enough to overcome Ken's alibi.
Without more evidence, the investigators seem to be hitting a dead end.
That's when detectives receive a package from the crime lab.
CSI had confiscated a lot of items from the crime scene, including an answering machine that was at the home.
You're gonna want to hear this.
And when the messages on the answering machine were transcribed, CSI techs noticed an alarming recording.
The recording isn't a voicemail. It's actually a voice recording that can be activated by pressing a button on the answering machine. When they pop them in the tape player, the detectives are left speechless.
Michelle had apparently pushed the memo button. Everything was recorded.
Michelle spoke from the grave.
Police in Clarkstown, New York have discovered that just before she was murdered, 27-year-old Michelle Despinas pushed the record button on her answering machine and captured the entire confrontation with her killer.
The police listened to the tape that was on the answering machine.
Stop what? Her voice breaking in terror. You could hear her begin to struggle.
But who was the attacker? To detectives' surprise, they're clued in by Michelle herself.
In her own voice, Michelle is yelling for Ken to stop. Ken, stop.
Ken, stop it!
She wanted to capture whatever happened between them on tape.
Then the investigators hear the thud of something falling.
We believe Michelle went to the ground, either by being struck or by fainting.
That's followed by a loud bang that sounds like a gun went off.
We hear the fatal shot, and the tape goes dead.
For the detectives, the recording is a game changer.
There is no more compelling evidence than the words of the victim herself naming her own murderer.
She sent the homicide detectives the evidence they needed from beyond the grave.
Now, they hope the tape can be used to leverage a confession.
On the day of Michelle's funeral, Ken attended the funeral, and police asked Ken to go back to the station with them to talk about the case.
Detectives have a tape player ready in the interview room.
Why am I here?
Because there's something we want you to listen to.
The police played the tape for Ken. This was the first time Ken had heard it, and he was quite shocked.
Can't stop it!
Do you recognize that voice?
Ken thinks he's free and clear and suddenly hears the voice of Michelle herself yelling out his name.
At that point, his demeanor changes.
He's horrified, he's upset, but yet he stands by his innocence.
I don't know why she said my name. Because you were there. It wasn't me.
Ken has no explanation for detectives.
He just leaves.
Ken stands up and walks out. The detectives decide to let him go.
The tape alone isn't enough for them to make an arrest.
You have Michelle's words, but what you don't have is a murder weapon, and you still have an alibi.
A friend who owned this video store admitted that Ken was hanging out at the store at the time the murder was committed.
Despite his friend's claim, could Ken still be involved in the murder somehow? Police decide to subpoena his phone records to search for any suspicious calls.
What we noticed was that there were several calls to an individual who lived in Ken's neighborhood in the week prior to the murder.
The police then get in contact with the person that Ken was phoning.
The man says he doesn't know anything about a murder, but he does admit something alarming.
Ken had been speaking to him about purchasing a gun.
He admits that on September 15th, he sold Ken a pistol.
The gun was a 9mm, which was the same type of weapon that was used to kill Michelle.
Just hours before the shooting, Ken bought a handgun consistent with the shell casing that was found at the crime scene.
It's another piece of compelling evidence, but there's still a major roadblock in the investigation.
There's one sticking point left in this case, that video store alibi.
Making an arrest depends on dismantling the alibi. So detectives bring in Ken's friend, Alex Green, to see if he'll stick by his original story.
I don't understand why y'all want to talk to me again.
We've received some new information.
Detectives reveal they have a tape that strongly suggests Ken wasn't at the video store like he claims. And Alex quickly changes his tune.
Ken's friend now admits that none of that was true.
The owner of the video store had lied, and the reason why he lied was he claimed that he had been visited by a member of Ken's family.
He said that the cops would want to talk to me, and I better say Ken was with me that night.
And what if you didn't?
He said, or else.
He was afraid for his life.
So what are you saying now? That you weren't with Ken?
Well, he did come into the store.
He actually did show up to the video store at 7 p.m., like he originally said.
But he left shortly after 8 and didn't come back till 10.
The alibi that Ken provided to police was false.
I want women to know that Michelle was your average person, your best friend, the girl who you worked with. This situation can happen to any woman. When you're feeling unsafe in a relationship, you have to talk about it. You have to find that person that you can share with what's going on. Don't keep it to yourself. You think that you can control it, but before you know it, it becomes bigger than you are, and it can literally take your life.
Police in Clarkstown, New York are building a case against Ken Rogers for the murder of his ex-girlfriend, Michelle Despinas. But so far, Ken has had a rock-solid alibi standing in their way.
From about 7 to 10 p.m., he was talking with a friend at a video store.
But in their follow-up interview with that friend, Alex Green, Ken's alibi is starting to crumble.
According to Ken's friend, Ken left the store about 8:20 p.m. and he didn't return to the store till after 10 p.m.
That opens the window wide for Ken to be able to get to Michelle's house, commit the crime, and get back.
After their interview with Alex Green, detectives are ready to make an arrest, and Ken Rogers can feel it coming.
After hearing the tape, he called and left a message for Michelle's mother and sister, and he said, "I'm sorry, guys, goodbye." Ken then tried to take his life that night by swallowing Drano.
He ended up having to go to the emergency room to get treated.
Unlike Michelle, Ken makes a full recovery.
Ken made an agreement with investigators that he would turn himself into police right after being released from the hospital.
But that's not what happens. Back home the next day, Ken attempts to make a run for it when officers come to arrest him.
Rather than cooperate, he decided to flee.
Ken was trying to jump out a back window to get away. Fortunately, one of the officers was around back.
Ken was arrested and went to the Rockland County Jail.
With Ken now secured, detectives let Michelle's loved ones know that they have her killer in custody.
I thought that I would be so excited and so happy. It was just more grief. I'm glad they got him, but it kind of solidifies this really happened.
It was a sense of relief to say, wow, he's off the street, so what do we do to get him behind bars and stay there?
The police get some help from one of Ken's fellow inmates at the jail.
While he was in the jail, a person overheard some conversation where Ken admitted that he shot Michelle. Some of the details were details that only the killer would know.
The jailhouse confession is the final piece of the case the police have been building. And in May of 2000, Ken Rogers goes on trial at the Rockland County Courthouse.
The trial focused primarily on the tape. But in addition to the tape, there was an abundance of evidence pointing towards Ken's guilt. First, he had a motive to kill Michelle Despinas.
According to the prosecution, Michelle was murdered because she'd broken up with Ken.
Since the breakup, Ken had been stalking her and trying to force her to take him back.
But Michelle refused to be intimidated.
He saw his harassing behavior was not working.
Ken found out that she was dating another man, that she would never take him back.
and he refused to accept it.
We are over.
We'll see about that.
Ken was extremely jealous when he found out that Michelle had moved on.
If he wasn't going to have her, nobody was going to have her.
Prosecutors claim the murder was premeditated.
Ken planned out exactly what he was going to do.
Then he put his plan into action.
On the day of the murder, he bought a 9mm handgun.
He goes to the video store to start establishing an alibi.
Next, Ken drove to the home Michelle shared with her mother and sister.
When Michelle spotted him, that's when she called her friend.
But Michelle didn't initially realize it was Ken outside.
There's someone out there. I could see him.
Until he began banging on her front door.
Kid, you can't keep doing this.
Why can I keep... Unaware of the violence that he had planned against her, Michelle let Ken inside the house.
She was still willing to let him come into her house and talk to him, hoping that he would leave her alone.
But Ken had something else in mind.
He confronted her about the fact that she was seeing other men.
An argument ensued. I don't like the fact that you're dating someone else. I still want to get together with you. Things got very heated.
How many times do I have to tell you?
Tell me what?
It's over, kid!
It's not over.
That's when Michelle pressed record on the answering machine. And what happened next was caught on tape.
The argument quickly escalated and it turned into a physical struggle.
He knocks her to the floor, stands over her.
Michelle was on the floor begging for her life while this man stood over her and shot her in the head.
The coroner determined the shot was fired within 1 to 3 inches of Michelle's head.
Ken fled immediately after the shooting.
He headed right back to the video shop to establish his alibi.
Ken also covered his tracks by disposing of the murder weapon.
Sometime after leaving the house, he got rid of the gun.
The weapon is never recovered, but even without a literal smoking gun, the jury is convinced.
After 2 hours of deliberation, the jury finds Ken Rogers guilty. If it wasn't for Michelle's quick thinking, he might have got away with this.
It amazes me that Michelle had the presence of mind to press the memo button on her answering machine to record what was happening.
But regardless of the verdict, Ken doesn't back down.
At the sentencing, after he was convicted, Ken was given an opportunity to speak to the court. He came up with a conspiracy-laden theory about him not being involved.
He still maintains his innocence, even at this point, but I think he's the only one he is fooling in this case.
Michelle's family is outraged.
Things got very emotional, and Angie Despinas got very upset, and there were some words exchanged between them.
For him to say, you know what, I'm going to play the role of God and take your life because you're not with me. I think it's demonic. It's evil.
Like the family, the judge is in no mood for Ken's lies.
Judge Nelson admonished him for putting the family through that again.
The judge was not a fan of his.
The judge sentences Ken to 25 years to life.
He would be eligible for parole in August of 2024.
Michelle's family and friends have mixed feelings about the outcome of the trial.
You have that sense of relief, but then there's a possibility that after serving a certain amount of time that he can come out. I've never come to terms with that.
He shouldn't be allowed out. I felt like he should have gotten life. She was loved by many. We all lost her.
Michelle was a vibrant member of the community. She worked within a maternity ward, bringing life into this world, and her life was taken from her.
How many people would she have helped? So much she could have accomplished. Ken took that away not only from her, but he took Michelle away from the rest of the world.
Michelle always went above and beyond to make sure that others were okay, even if she had to miss out on something. That's what this world is missing without Michelle.
Her son didn't want for anything.
She was extremely loving and protective.
Moms and their sons is that special connection.
And then she met the man who made their family complete.
She wanted someone there for her son.
He became a father figure.
They fell in love and got engaged.
Would you please marry me?
Yes.
But they would never marry.
Her throat was slashed.
Blood is all over the place.
She absolutely fought for her life.
Please, help!
Was it a robbery gone wrong?
You have a broken window.
It looked like a burglary.
Did she have a stalker?
Her tires had been slashed.
She would receive threatening text messages.
Someone was following her.
Or had she always known her killer's name?
The type of wounds she had were up close and personal.
If you are in a fight with someone, you're going to have some form of DNA underneath the fingernails.
She also did it.
October 14th, 2015. It's Wednesday afternoon in Hampton, Virginia, a hard-working city of 130,000, just across the water from the sprawling naval base of Norfolk and the bustling shipyards of Newport News.
Most all of the industry there is Navy, and people work at the naval shipyard. People help supply the naval shipyard. It's a very blue-collar area.
A lot of people migrate here. It's a good, wholesome place.
You have great school systems. It's a great place to raise a family.
At around 3:30 that afternoon, Angelina Williams' 16-year-old son returns home from school.
He's excited about a test he took that day.
He thought he had done really poorly on this test, but he actually got an A. And so he was really excited about his grade.
He couldn't wait for his mom to get home from work so he could tell her all about it.
But when he lets himself in the front door, he notices something unusual.
Mom? The door was unlocked.
Mom, you come home early?
He started looking for his mother, called out to her and didn't get any response.
Mom?
There was no sound in the house as well, so he went upstairs to look for his mom.
But just as he gets to the second floor, he stops.
Oh my God.
He saw a large amount of blood right at the top of the steps.
Nothing was more important to 46-year-old Angelina Williams than her son.
So how are things going with you and Christina?
She was a single mother. She had raised her son on her own.
She was extremely loving and protective of her son.
Their relationship was very close. And you know how that go with moms and their sons. It's that special connection.
To support her son, Angelina worked long hours at a local warehouse store.
She worked there for over 15 years.
She loved that job. The job loved her.
She was known by many of the customers that frequented the place.
And her coworkers had become her extended family.
They build up this close-knit bond just based on a sense of pride, a sense of camaraderie. They got together on weekends, they had fun.
They talked about everything, their children, the different challenges that they had in life.
She did have a village, a collection of people that you can go to.
Thanks to that support and the steady income her job provided, Angelina was able to raise her son in a stable and secure environment.
She was able to save up enough money when her son was in maybe the 7th grade or so. They got a townhouse.
He didn't want for anything, but Angelina worked very hard to provide that life for him.
But there was still one thing missing.
She's been a single parent for a while, and it's just been her and her son.
Until, in 2013, Angelina met Willie Smith.
It was a big step in the right direction because she was checking so many different boxes of her life. She had job stability, her son was doing good in school. So everything just started to line up.
They ended up moving in together.
Would you please marry me?
Of course. They were together for about a year before they were engaged to be married.
He became a father figure to her son.
Oh, Willie,
You like it?
it's beautiful.
The type of mother that she was, she wanted someone there for her son.
More importantly, Angelina finally had someone of her own.
This is someone that she wanted to spend the rest of her life with.
Now she has this opportunity to feel special.
Everything aligned, everything was looking promising.
But now, Angelina's son has come home to find the front door of the family's Hampton townhouse unlocked.
Mom, you come home early?
And blood at the top of the stairs.
Oh my God.
Just imagine riding the bus home from school, being in school all day, getting a good grade, having a good time, to coming home, and now your whole world is shaking up.
And it's about to get far, far worse.
He made his way to his mom's bedroom, and there he found her.
Mom! Mom!
Her son found his mother in a pool of blood.
Please, no!
After years of raising her son alone, Angelina Williams had finally found a partner to make her family complete.
They were starting to build a life together.
They were engaged to be married.
Would you please marry me?
But now, Angelina's son has returned from school to find his mother lying in a pool of blood.
Mom! Mom!
He was very distraught.
However, he is able to call 911.
The police eventually arrived.
But there's nothing they can do for Angelina.
She had been stabbed multiple times. and her throat was slashed.
Angelina was dead on the scene.
She deceased. The news is more than her son can bear.
By the time the homicide detectives arrived on the scene, he had completely broken down.
Let us know what happened. While he was crying, medics were assisting me and calming him down.
Eventually, detectives decided to have him transported to the station so he could have more time to collect himself.
After seeing to Angelina's son, detectives turned their attention to the crime scene.
When I got to the top landing, I noticed a pool of blood. There was blood smears on the walls,
which suggests that there was some sort of struggle at the top of the steps.
But the struggle ended in the bedroom, where Angelina's son had found her body.
She was laying on her side with the left arm over her head.
Her stab wounds were in the upper area, like the neck, head area, which is a very vascular area. And so there would have been a whole lot of blood.
On her hands, she had very severe defensive wounds.
She was clearly fighting for her life.
Nearby, detectives find a knife that may have been used in the crime.
The top of the blade was missing. It had broken off.
Detectives also find a pair of box cutters.
One was open beside her, close proximity, had a lot of blood on it.
It looked like the killer might have initially attacked Angelina with the knife, and when the knife broke, switched to the box cutter.
But who was behind the vicious attack?
We were thinking it might have been a burglary.
When detectives make their way downstairs, there are clear signs of forced entry. A broken window next to the front door.
So it appeared to me at that point that whoever entered this residence came through that window.
It seems that the intruder broke in, thought the house was empty, and he headed upstairs.
But there was someone home.
Angelina must have heard the glass break and started down the stairs to investigate, and then met the intruder at the stairs.
That's when the attack began. He chased her into the bedroom, where he ended up stabbing her.
Then, leaving Angelina bleeding in the bedroom, the intruder fled out the front door.
Which would explain why her son found it unlocked when he came home.
However, other details around the townhouse argue against a burglary scenario.
Nothing looked disturbed, out of place.
Angelina's purse is still there. Other valuables are still there.
It's possible the assailant, after surprising and killing Angelina, just took off without taking anything.
Or were detectives dealing with a targeted attack?
The type of injuries she had were personal, very direct towards her upper body.
The assailant was intent on killing her.
Hoping for more information, police canvass the neighborhood. But neighbors have little to offer.
We'd like to ask you about your neighbors.
They didn't see anybody coming or going in the house. They don't really know anything.
Sorry, don't.
Angie got along with her about it.
She just didn't really seem to have any enemies.
Her and Willie are such nice people.
Willie?
Yeah, her fiance.
The fact that Angelina has a fiancé raises a new possibility for detectives.
It could be a domestic violence situation.
Do you know if there was any trouble between the two of them?
Not that I'm aware of.
The neighbors all agreed that Angelina, Willie, and her son, they were all great neighbors.
Still, the detectives do wonder where Willie is now.
Do you know how to get a hold of Willie?
No, I don't.
Hoping Angelina's son will know how to reach him, the detectives head down to the station to speak with the teenager.
I know this is hard, but we need to get a little information that might be helpful for us.
In the interview, it was clear that Angelina's son was still distraught over his mother's death.
He got hysterical a couple times, wanting to know what happened to his mother. How could this happen? It was a bad nightmare to him.
That doesn't make any sense.
He was unsure why Mom was home that early during the day. Normally she's at work.
She didn't tell you she was coming home early?
I was trying to get some information on anybody that he might suspect had issues with his mother.
And the teenager may have an answer. Angelina's former fiance.
Angelina's son said that her and Willie had broke up.
He had been kicked out of the house for about 2 months prior.
They argued, but
he mentioned that there were arguments.
They ever do more than argue? Not really.
But he does say that some strange things had recently started happening.
His mom was concerned that someone was following her.
Her tires had been slashed a week or so before this homicide.
He wasn't sure if it was somebody in the neighborhood or somebody from work.
She got concerned that somebody else might have been coming around, maybe stalking her, watching her from a distance.
He tells them that his mother may have had a stalker.
Her son said that not long ago, someone had slashed his mother's tires.
She was nervous, she was scared, she wasn't sure if somebody was following her.
And whoever it was knew where she lived.
It happened to her at home before she left for work.
She walked out that morning and her tires were flat.
She had no knowledge of who may have done it.
As far as her son knew, she did not report it to police.
However, the possibility that someone was stalking Angelina could explain how the murder occurred.
We believe that someone had been watching her and following her and was aware of her comings and her goings.
So the stalker would have known she was home alone and vulnerable.
But that still didn't explain why Angelina left work early that afternoon.
She normally got off of work at 4.
Mom, you come home early?
Her son had no idea why she had come home before him.
You didn't know she was coming home early? No.
Normally she's at work until after he gets home from school. So the detectives then went to Angie's job to try to figure out why she was home early.
At the warehouse store, Angelina's manager is stunned by the news that she's dead.
She's been killed?
She'd been an employee there for a number of years.
The manager also reveals why Angelina had gone home early that day.
Angelina had clocked out at 11 a.m. because she just wasn't feeling good.
But was she being followed? When the detectives check the store's security footage, the results are inconclusive.
They did see her get in the car and proceed out the parking lot.
Angelina wasn't approached by anyone and she just pulled off.
But several cars did leave the parking lot around the same time she did.
With Angelina's job being such a busy place, it was very hard for them to determine if someone had followed her.
However, Angelina's manager is certain that whoever killed her wasn't someone from work.
Her manager said that everybody there loved her And she had this bubbly, overflowing personality.
Several employees for a very long time, good friends of hers.
They all cared about each other. They all loved each other. So they loved her as if that was their family member.
But could Angelina's manager reveal who was behind the attack?
You know, I was afraid this would happen.
And why's that?
We did find out from her coworkers that during conversations with Angelina, she was concerned about Willie.
Especially after he slashed her tires.
Willie did that.
Well, she wasn't sure, but we think so.
Instinctively, she thought immediately it was Willie. And so she shared that information with her colleagues.
According to her manager, Angelina's relationship with Willie had quickly turned contentious.
When he moved into her home, I think she began to see a little more of who he really was. He would be out all night. And so he was someone who would spend the night all night out of the house. And of course, what woman would want that? And so that would absolutely cause conflict and friction.
Where have you been?
Oh, none of your business. When confronted about the excessive drinking and confronted about the all-night partying or whatever he was doing, he became abusive.
Just got here. I don't want to hear all that.
You know what? You do the dumbest stuff.
After this, she kicked him out of the residence.
And running your mouth all the time.
But he didn't stay gone.
When she kicked him out the house, the first time, he tried to romance her back and said that he would change. And so her being in love with him, she did. After 2 weeks, she gave him another chance and she allowed him to come back into the home.
According to her manager, Angelina soon regretted her decision.
He did not change. He was still that same mean-spirited person. And so she asked him to leave yet again. And he did.
It wasn't long after that, someone slashed her tires.
Willie had also sent Angelina a series of angry texts.
What did they say?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
She did not go into details about the text messages, but she shared with them that he had texted her.
But according to what Angelina did tell her, whatever was in the text could not have been good.
She also shared with them that if anything happened to me, make sure you let the authorities know that Willie did it.
Okay. Thank you for your time, ma'am.
Hoping to find out what Willie had said to scare Angelina so much, detectives returned to the station and subpoena her phone records.
The text messages are a very important piece of evidence here because these are statements specifically from the suspect.
Then, while waiting to hear back from Angelina's cell phone provider, detectives pull Willie's rap sheet.
What they discovered was alarming to them.
He had a violent past towards females.
He had served time in prison for shooting a woman.
Her ex-fiancé, Willie Smith, had done time for shooting a woman.
This was alarming to the detectives.
The charges stemmed from an incident that had happened 10 years earlier.
He and his wife at that time were in a domestic dispute.
He asked her to meet him at his relative's home in reference to giving her money for some type of business transaction. When she arrived at his aunt and uncle's home, he literally came out the house and he started shooting her in front of everyone in broad daylight. As he was shooting her, the uncle ran up to him trying to stop him. Willie Smith grabbed his uncle and threw him into a tree. His aunt then came out and she pleaded with him, and somehow they were able to get his wife into the house where she passed out and she woke up in a hospital.
By then, Willie was in jail. But his wife refused to cooperate with the prosecution.
Even though he was an extremely violent husband, she was of the mindset that she did not want her children to grow up without a father.
Prosecutors in a case like this are often hamstrung by the victim's willingness to testify.
Without his wife's cooperation, prosecutors were forced to cut a deal with Willie.
The only thing they could do to salvage the case was to plead the case down.
He pled guilty to malicious wounding.
Malicious wounding is a general intent crime. So I only have to show that that person assaulted someone, and as a result of that assault, that person suffered some type of wound.
He was sentenced to 6 years.
He was released in 2013.
Shortly after, he met Angie and began to start a life with her.
Willie's violent record convinces detectives they're on the right track. But it's not enough to charge him with murder.
It's a very circumstantial case because we didn't have any videos to show him walking in the door, walking out of the door. No eyewitnesses to tell us, hey, I saw him do this.
However, the record search did give them the grounds to bring him in.
Come to find out that he had an outstanding failure to appear warrant from York County.
Detectives also hope that forensics will give them more evidence to tie Willie to the murder.
When we did the autopsy, they clipped her nails, and when they clipped her nails, they sent it to the lab.
They hope to find Willie's DNA under her fingernails.
If you are in a fight with someone, and even if you have small fingernails, but you scratch that person and you are able to somehow get skin, you're going to have some form of DNA underneath those nails.
The autopsy also reveals the vicious nature of the crime.
The autopsy confirmed that she had at least 19 stab wounds.
She had a lot of defensive wounds on her body from the attack.
When they did the initial x-rays of her body, they located a broken off knife blade in her upper chest area.
She was stabbed with such force that the handle of the knife came off and was lodged in her.
The medical examiner was able to remove it and was able to match it with the knife that was found at the scene.
This was a crime of passion. It was very, very brutal.
Now all the detectives have to do is bring the man they believe responsible to justice.
While waiting for the DNA results from the autopsy, the detectives focus on finding Willie.
With the help of cell phone technology, detectives are hot on Willie's trail.
We did what they call a GPS coordinate with the phone company, and we were able to get indications that the phone was active.
Detectives head to the coordinates the phone company provides and locate Willie's vehicle.
It was parked behind a church, and this church was approximately a block away from where his mother actually lived.
When they approach, they find a man asleep in the driver's seat.
We woke him up and took him into custody.
He did have an outstanding warrant, so they were able to arrest him based on that warrant.
But when detectives get Willie into the interrogation room, he refuses to talk.
He said, "I'm not saying anything until my lawyer's standing in front of me."
You still about anything?
Even though he had invoked his right to remain silent, Willie had plenty to tell detectives.
There was a cut on his forearm.
He clearly had been in a fight.
Finally sit down with her former fiance, Willie Smith. They're all but certain they found her killer.
The detectives noticed that he had a cut on his arm.
Don't worry about that. I got that from you guys arresting me.
He said it happened when we were putting handcuffs on him. What's interesting with that was the handcuffs go down by the hand and the wrist. These marks were further up between the wrist and the elbow, so they looked like they were actually nail scratches.
We know that there was some type of physical altercation. How we know that is because she had defensive wounds on her body.
We'll get you a lawyer if you don't want to talk to us, but we're going to get a DNA first.
Hoping to confirm that Angelina made the scratches on Willie's arm, the detectives obtain a sample of his DNA to compare with the samples the medical examiner took from under her fingernails.
Because there were fresh scratch wounds on the forearms of Willie Smith, we know that there was probably tissue and probably blood that was underneath the fingernails of Angelina. And so as a result of that, DNA will absolutely be present.
When they're finished with Willie, the detectives obtain a warrant to search Willie's mother's house.
That's where he's been staying, and detectives went out there to search for possibly any bloody clothes, any weapons.
They particularly wanted to be able to see whether this knife that was collected at the scene would have come potentially from the home.
The police don't find any bloody clothes.
However, in the kitchen, they did find a knife block.
Every knife was there except one.
But detectives believe they know where it is.
The knives were a match to the broken knife detectives had recovered from the crime scene, and the knife blade recovered during Angelina's autopsy.
They were all from the same manufacturer.
It gave us a huge piece of evidence because we were able to match that blade with the weapon that we believe was used to kill her. And that weapon was ultimately confirmed to be from the knife block that we retrieved from his mother's home.
As damning as the knife evidence is, the case against Willie gets even stronger when the detectives receive Angelina's phone records.
Going through text messages, they revealed that Willie did text her in about October saying that he wanted to meet up, he wanted to talk.
Angie refused, so Willie had turned on the charm.
Yet again, he was trying to convince Angelina that, hey, I changed. I want to be the man that you want me to be.
But Angie wasn't going to fall for that a second time.
Angie replied to him, I don't want to put myself through this again. We can be friends, but that's pretty much as far as we can go.
That's when Willie's texts turned more desperate.
He wasn't able to sleep, he wasn't able to eat. And this is a control tactic that most abusers use. He wanted Angie to see him in a state of desperation, so that way she'll be more easy and open to accepting his invitation.
It didn't work.
Angie stood her ground, was not interested in going beyond just friends.
Soon after that, he'd started stalking her.
When the tires got slashed, she told him that she was going to call the police.
And he told her, if you call the police, there are going to be consequences to that.
And then Angelina threatened to do something even worse than calling the police.
She said that she was going to call his mother.
He pleaded with her, hey, please don't tell my mom, she'll kick me out.
Angelina responded to Willie with one final text message.
Angie replied, I'm scared of you, Will.
Angelina must have been terrified. She had to have an inclination that he may have been capable of doing something to her. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said, I'm scared of you.
Detectives suspect Angelina was right to be afraid of Willie. Because when the detectives get the results of the DNA testing back, they have definitive proof of her killer's identity.
She told us who did it.
Willie's DNA was, in fact, under her nails.
That directly places Willie at the crime scene.
Smith's DNA under Angelina Williams' fingernails. Detectives believe they have definitive proof that the 49-year-old killed his former fiancée.
We were able to place Willie Smith at this crime scene based upon DNA evidence.
She had not been with him for 2 months. There would no longer be DNA under fingernails for any other purpose.
She absolutely fought for her life.
It's enough for the police and prosecutors to finally charge Willie, who was already in jail on an outstanding warrant.
We got the warrants for first-degree murder and breaking and entering with the intent to commit murder.
When Willie goes on trial on October 7th, 2019, Angelina's friends and family fill the courtroom.
Her brother, her family members, her mom, her dad, they were all there. Her colleagues, her co-workers, they showed up.
The community was very upset. They wanted to pay their respects, kind of wrap their arms around her son and, make sure that her son knows that she was loved.
In contrast, Willie's side of the courtroom is all but empty.
Not one person showed up with the exception of his mom. She came for a few minutes and then she eventually left. So his family knows that he is a very brutal, malicious person.
Willie's brutal nature is also the focus of the prosecution's opening statement.
This was a typical domestic violence motive. What the prosecutors believe happened was that Willie Smith committed the murder out of anger, vengeance, out of jealousy.
We believe that he was following her and that he was tracking her and that he was actually stalking her because on that particular day, she came home early. She wasn't feeling well. We believe that she got into the bed to lie down.
According to the prosecutors, Willie had broken in soon after.
We believe he entered into the home through a window pane that was broken out.
Inside, he'd made his way to the second floor, armed with the knife from his mother's kitchen.
It is clear what his intentions were that day. He was there to kill her.
Once he got upstairs, there was Angelina.
What I believe occurred is he initially encountered her and surprised her.
And that's when he attacked her with the knife.
Angelina tried to flee away from Willie. He chased her into the bedroom.
Once inside, the vicious attack continued.
We do know that at certain points during the encounter, she was able to fight back, and she left some marks on his body, but he was still able to overpower her.
He ended up stabbing her 19 times.
He had stabbed her with such a level of force that the blade had broken.
All those things point to a very specific targeted anger.
And according to the prosecution, all the evidence points to Willie as Angelina's killer.
They had the text messages subpoenaed from Angelina's cell phone.
The knife blade left broken in her body was a match for the set in his mother's house.
Most of all, the crime lab had found Willie's DNA under her fingernails.
That was the crux of this case. The DNA from the nail clippings.
When it's the defense's turn, they do their best to raise reasonable doubt.
There was some unknown DNA that was found at the scene.
We don't know who that DNA belongs to, but the fact is that by finding someone else's DNA there in the house, that is an opportunity for the defense to latch on and argue, well, then someone else committed this offense.
Will it be enough to sway the jury? It takes only an hour for them to decide.
They found him guilty of both first-degree murder and breaking and entering with the intent to commit murder.
That unknown DNA was irrelevant.
That could have been a maintenance worker. It could have been a friend of hers. It could have been literally anybody. The most important DNA, though, is under the fingernails.
It's a DNA that was consistent with the crime and consistent with how Angelina died. All of that DNA pointed to Willie Smith.
The twin verdicts earn Willie 2 life sentences.
He got life for the murder. It was first-degree murder in Virginia. The maximum penalty for first-degree murder is life. He got life for the breaking and entering a residency with a weapon, which is a life penalty maximum. So he got 2 life terms.
But no amount of punishment can make up for the loss of Angelina.
It still was a tough pill to swallow for members of the community, her co-workers, being that she was so loving and nurturing and friendly.
Angelina should be remembered as a great mom, a great attribute to society, her co-workers, her neighborhood.
And even though she is no longer here, her legacy remains very much alive.
Angelina's son is thriving in college, and he has shown such courage and resiliency despite having to find his mom in the condition in which he found her. And so it's my hope and my prayer that he continues to do well in life.
Thank you.
Thank you.